Hey everybody, how you doing? Dwayne here with Sims Ministries. So good to be with you today. It's Saturday the 13th of September, and just wanted to get on here and touch base with you. I have been kind of lax on my videos here lately, and I wanted to explain a lot of that. Um, and I know for many of you, this week has been a real doozy. I have never had anything hit me quite as hard, other than the death of my brother and my dad. I've never had anything hit me quite as hard as the death of Charlie Kirk. I know that you're seeing tons of things that people are putting out there. I've watched a ton. And I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in. Excuse me. There we go again with that itchy nose. For the last few months, I have really backed off of doing the ministry that I was doing. I was doing a daily devotional. Then on Thursday evenings, I was doing a teaching from Andrew Womack, and I stayed consistent with that quite a bit. I've actually been doing most of that since COVID. And these last few months, I've just really backed off. I've had lots of things going on in my life. Not bad, nothing bad, just busyness. We bought some new property for us, and we've been getting it all squared away and lined out, and just staying busy with life. But the other day, when this happened, and I've watched many people talking about it, I've really come to realize that how can I not continue to be somewhat of a voice in this crazy, dark world that we live in? Now, first of all, I want to say I'm a nobody. I'm just an old Southern Illinois boy, and I don't claim to be anything other than that. As Andrew says, I'm a big zero with the rim kicked out of it. Without Jesus, I'm telling you, I am nothing without him. And I've just felt all the feelings that go along with something like this. At first, it was shock. You got to be kidding. There's just no way. Second was anger. I'm still dealing with that. Anger. How could somebody get that into their mind to do something like that? Well, I know. It's not, I don't have to say why. I know. This is pure evil, pure satanic evil. Satan wants to do everything to kill, steal, and destroy. He doesn't want me getting on here and saying anything, because there might be that one person who gets a hold of this and goes, wow, I really never thought about it that way. Yeah, he's just plain old Joe. Nothing special about him. Satan hates that. He hates it. He hates families. Now, look at the family that's been, they tried to destroy. It's not going to destroy. If you've heard his wife's speech last night, what a remarkable woman. Um, but again, this shows you just how stupid Satan is and how stupid these people are. And I'm going to say it, on the left that think that they can silence somebody like him. They have just opened up the biggest can of worms that you will ever see. I believe that. I've heard this many, many times, and I believe it. I believe that there is going to be people that are finally going to stand up and say, enough is enough. Now, I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking about anything like that, because that's what Satan wants. Yeah. Let's get them all fighting. Let's get them all this. Let's have wars. Let's do all this other stuff. No. I'm talking about leading people to the only answer that our country or this world has, and that is Jesus Christ. As I've said many a time, I was drugged to church when I was a kid, fought it hair, tooth, and toenail a lot of times, but I gave my life to Christ a long time ago. But I walked away from it. Oh, yeah, I thought I had it all figured out. I was 16, 17 years old, and I thought I had everything lined out. Well, let me tell you, I sure didn't. I sure didn't have things lined out, and I could go on for hours and tell you the stupid, goofy stuff that Satan run me through. And I'm not a bit proud of it. Not a bit proud of it. Oh, I've laughed about it and been around other people and, oh, yeah, that was funny. Wasn't that something? And all this other stuff. That stops. God is not pleased with that. God is not pleased with the way that we've been speaking and the way that we've been handling things as a church. That's right, I'm going to say it. And I'm going to say this. Some of the most stupid, nasty, goofy things that I ever dealt with in my childhood growing up come from church. Oh, the church wasn't teaching that. But that's where I got with other guys and this and that, and taking our Sunday school money and going and buying cigarettes, and thought we were really something. Thought we were the big deal. So I said all that to say this. If by me getting on here and continually bringing a daily devotional, bringing something to uplift people, bringing something to help someone that might have be going down that road or thinking about going down that road, and I can do something to steer them the other way and towards Jesus, I'm going to do it. I'm going to continue to do it. And I'm ashamed of myself for allowing the enemy to put the very things in my mind that I told other people not to do. Well, don't look at numbers now on there because you'll get discouraged. Well, I got to looking at numbers. Well, there are people not watching this like I think they should or would or could. I've turned away from music, and I've used the excuse I'm just burnt out. I've done this for so many years, and I'm just burnt out. Even though God has blessed me with a talent that it's God, it's not me. I've been on both ends of the fence with that too. I've played the clubs. I've played all the bars and taverns and all this other kind of stuff, and thought, "Whoo-wee, I'm making it good money, good money, good money." Drink the whole night for free, and then end up losing every single thing that I had. Lost my family, lost my home, lost respect from individuals. I lost everything because of it. Everything. And then when you're down and out like that, Satan just laughs. Man, what an idiot you are. And then a lot of people just turn around and fall for it again. Well, I finally figured it out, and I turned to God, and I want to tell you something right now. The day I done that. Now listen, I gave my heart to the Lord a long time ago, back when I was a young boy. God never left me, ever. It says in His Word, He will never, ever leave you. Ever. Now, some people may say, well, now I'll tell you what, if you're doing this and you're doing this over here and you've done that over there, then, then you're messed up. You're not going to be able to make it. That's a lie. That's another lie of the enemy that wants to take religion and the things of religion and twist it and turn it. Well, you can't be like that because you don't wear your hair right. You don't wear the right clothes, so you can't be, you're not really a Christian. See, these are lies that Satan keeps throwing in, and the very church spreads these lies. Oh, if you smoke, you're going to hell. No, you're not. You may smell like you've been there, but you're not going to hell for smoking. Now, does God want to keep you in that situation? No, He does not. He doesn't want that for you. Oh, but you'll get these people, big around as a house. They've ate garbage all their life, and I have to say I'm guilty of that too. Oh, but that's different than smoking or drinking or anything like that. That's totally different. No, it is not. It says in the Bible that God hates sin. Sin is sin. And yeah, I am preaching, so, and that's all right. But I want to get a point across. We are living in a day and time that I never dreamed things would get the way they are. For example, with this thing with Charlie Kirk. Look at this young man that has done this. His life is over. It's over. He was from a fine family, and you hear about this time and time again. He was from a fine family. His dad was in law enforcement. You hear about this stuff. Can you imagine what his parents must be going through? I pray for them. I pray for him. That he will renounce Satan and get his life turned around. Because I'm telling you what, he's knocking on eternity's door right now. Oh, you're putting fear in people. Well, you know what? I don't want anybody to go to hell. That'd be like me walking by your house and your house was on fire and you were sitting at the kitchen table eating and you didn't know it was on fire. And I said, well, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to push nobody. I don't want to upset anybody. What kind of a person would be that way? Christian people, that's exactly what we're doing. We have the answer and we do not tell people about it. Oh, we'll put stuff on Facebook and put the little things out here and all this other kind of junk, but we won't make a stand. We won't make a stand. And I'm going to say it, the churches are the worst, the absolute worst. Now, I'm not saying, oh, everybody quit church and everybody. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, pastors, if there's a pastor listening here, get up in the pulpit and start preaching the Word of God and start getting people ready to go out here and battle. I heard someone talking today on YouTube. We don't have people getting ready for battle. Where it's just like, oh, hey, man, let's get our songs in. Let's have our smoke machine. Let's do this, and oh, we're all good for the week and everything else. Guys, I'm telling you, I'm sick of it. I have been for quite a while. I've been sick of all that for quite a while. The church can do better. It needs to do better. This country club atmosphere has got to stop. It has got to stop. I've tried different things myself. I've tried, having storefront mission things and stuff like that, and I've I've just been beat down and beat down, and tried to rely on other people. See, there's a lot of the problem with church. You know, you got the whole place full of people, but you only got 20% of them that do anything. No, that's the truth. That is the truth. It's the old 80-20 rule. 80% of the people sit back and let 20% of the people do all the work. I've seen it time after time after time. I've been involved with churches, have been on their board. I have sat and listened to people come to my house and say, Dwayne, this has got to change. We've got to do something different in the church, and we need to speak up and do something. And then the next meeting comes around, and they take me and put me out on a limb and saw it off. Because I will say what I think, and I will say when things aren't right. And people hate that. They hate, oh, you're just trouble. You're just a rebel. You're trouble. Well, okay. So what have I done? I've backed off and backed off and backed off and backed off. And now I go to a big church that is so big that I could miss a year. And nobody but a couple of people. I'd say maybe 5, 6 people out of this big church that would say, wow, Dwayne's not been around. I wonder what's going on. Now, that's the truth. That is the truth. But you know what? That's me. Because I'm like, I don't want to be involved. I don't want to get involved with none of that. I don't want to hear about all the problems and all the things that are going on. I don't want to see the business side of church. It sickens me. It really does. It just sickens me. Now, I'm talking about me. Now, you can say whatever you want. But even at the church that we go to, we it's like, well, now, if there's anybody out there that'd like to come to Jesus, now, everybody bow their head. Don't look around, lift your hand up. 1, 2, 3, and if you've done that, here, let's give you a big clap. And then there's a book out in the back if that's what you want. Instead of people standing up saying, yeah, I want to come to Christ and I want to come down here to the altar. And I'm not talking about sitting there going crazy. I'm talking about giving their life over to Christ. Now, I know people are going to say, well, they can do that wherever. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And are you saying that people that do that are not saved? Nope. I'm not saying that either. And maybe I'm going back to my old roots, but I feel like church should be a place where we worship God. And if someone feels like going to an altar and somebody praying with them, they ought to be able to do that. You know why we can't do that at this place I go to? Television time. I love the place. Don't get me wrong. I love going. I love to hear the speakers. I love to hear the preaching. The music I could care less about because it's all smoke and mirrors. Fog machine, the whole deal. Music's so loud. After I had that stroke about 3 years ago, I had to sit out in the vestibule because I couldn't My head just couldn't handle the boom, 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 boom. But there are many people that do enjoy that and do worship God and can worship God that way. So I'm going to step back and say, hey, that may not be my bag, but I'm certainly not going to get in the way of somebody else. I believe that pastors need to get up in the pulpit and start preaching where it hurts and saying, look, you're going to have to get yourself prepared for what's coming down the pike. We are in a spiritual war, and we have people sitting in churches that are not prepared. They're not prepared for spiritual war. They're patty caking and they're playing. And if that's what you want to do is patty cake and play, then there's nothing that can be done about that. But I want to do the very best that I can to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread the gospel that says, you come to God with whatever you got and let God work it out. You and God work it out together. Now, the church I grew up in, oh my goodness. No, that wouldn't happen. It was so legalistic. And boy, you better have every T crossed and every I dotted and blah blah blah, or you're just out of luck. Well, I've learned through the years that's a lie. That's Satan's way of just, well, you can't come to Christ, or you can't be saved. You can't do this. You can't. That's always can't. I put a thing out on Facebook here the other day. I found a pastor had put this out, and I'm sure I got some people thought, boy, he's lost it. But this pastor was saying that he was talking to a young man, and the young man said, listen, you want me to come to Christ, but now do I have to give up smoking marijuana to come to Christ? Now, before you get your feathers all ruffled, hear me out. The pastor said, no. No, you don't have to give that up. Guy looked at him and said, well, no, wait a minute. I'm talking about I smoke every day. He said, you're telling me I don't have to give that up to come to Christ? The guy said, no, you do not have to give that up to come to Christ. He said, but I'll tell you this. He said, God's not going to leave you there. That's between you and God. You come to Christ the way you are. Let him do the cleaning instead of the church. The church wants to go, oh, well, there's no way. When I come back to Christ, I went to a little church that accepted me exactly what was going on. I still smoking cigarettes. They accepted me. Now, I was able, with the help of God and that little church, I got off the cigarettes. Haven't had that in years. But they took me the way I was. And I'll just go ahead and get in this too. These kids that are in high school and the stuff that they're having crammed down their throat, and colleges, you see it. This transgender, gay, lesbian garbage that just keeps going on. People, get your kids out. Get them out of that, because that's all that's going on there. How much more proof do you have to have? You see it time and time and time again. Man, I can remember when I was in high school. Now, there may have been somebody there that was into that lifestyle or something, but they wasn't walking down the street waving a flag. And I pray for those people. God loves those people. He loves everybody. My sin is no different than their sin. It's sin. Can they be forgiven? Can they go to heaven? Yes, they most certainly can. But God doesn't want them living in that lifestyle. Why? Because it's terrible. They've showed stats time and time again, just like smoking cigarettes. How many more stats do you have to have that says this causes lung cancer and you could die? But yet you got people out there, and you got tobacco companies that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But here's the thing that's happening. We are not teaching our kids, Christians are not teaching their kids from home and telling them, well, first of all, I wouldn't have a child in school, public school nowadays. No way. Now, I don't have any children. I've got 2 grandchildren that are in public school, and I hate it. And let me tell you, I'm going to be talking to them too, to keep their head on a swivel, keep their eye open, and not be a part of this junk. But this deal with Charlie has just kicked open the hornet's nest. I'm telling you. You're going to see Christians coming out of the woodwork, or at least I pray that that's what's happened. I'm going to be one of them, because I have backed off and backed off and backed off as long as I'm going to back off. Now, I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking about anything like that. You guys ever heard of Brad Stein? He's a comedian. Man, you ought to hear what he says about this. You need to be looking at some of this stuff and going, hey, man, enough is enough. And I'll say this again, because I'm not going to point at any party, political party. I know the party that I deal with, and they're not perfect. But this leftist movement that is going on is dangerous. It's just absolutely ridiculous dangerous. We need to keep our eyes and ears open about this. And I'll put this out there for anybody. If you don't like what I have to say, please take me off your friends list. Now, I've said that before. I'll keep saying it. Please take me off your friends list, because I'm not going to listen to your rhetoric. I'm not going to listen to your junk. If you don't like the way I say it, it's just like if I don't like the way you say things, I don't get on to say anything about that. I mean, personally. You can do whatever you want to. I won't watch it. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And this has just gone on far enough. It is time to change, church. It's time to wake up. Get up off of the sidelines and start doing something. Mine starts today again. I'm just doing a restart. I'm going to be doing some different things online. Still going to be doing the teaching. I'm going back to my daily devotionals. And I just pray for each and every individual. I pray for the families that this is affected. And it's affected all of us. I pray for us that we can get ourselves pulled together in the name of Jesus Christ. I love you all. I'll see you later. Have a good day.
When you know Jesus, you will never be the same.